Alright, so we are back. Um, Again, in the previous video, I tried installing the blog context. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it all done, but I was able to get it running, and now I'm going to explain what happened. So basically, we created a blog context, and you have to bring in React from React. That is basically the basic scaffold, and then we constructed a blog context with React create context. So this is a function we're using from React to create that blog context, and we're not going to deal with this at the moment. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. What we're going to do is we're going to map the value of 5. Just to show you what's going on. Once we created this, we created a blog provider. We can call it anything, but the blog provider was just so we can keep it all blog oriented. So this is the blog provider, and then we return a value of blog context with the blog provider. So we're attaching the blog context, and then we are attaching the provider. In here, we're passing our value down to the children. The way that you pass values is by using the value parameter in order to pass it. This is the way that you pass values to the children, and then we export out the blog context. So then we go into the Appjs, and we have to bring it in. We have to import it, and then we have to wrap. You see how we imported it with the curlies, and so now that is an object. We can pass it in like this to the app. Just wrap everything around it for the app. And now you are able to see anything. But since we haven't touched the block screen, it's going to give us an error. Or not, it's just not going to display anything of the values. But we're going to go into the block screen, and it says blog context, and then use. I'm going to use. I was passing in a flat list, but that's for another one of the items. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do const value equals use context and blog context. So that is how we wire up the value string, and also we have to use this hook. We have to bring in the hook from React, and so we declare it. And now we're able to use it here. So now that we prepared that value, I'm gonna create a text field, and we're gonna pass in the value. And hopefully this comes back with 5. Yes, just as expected. This is a single value, and we created it here. We attached it. We attached the context in here, and we wrapped the blog provider. We wrapped app with blog provider. So now we're able to pass in whatever values to any of the children, or any of the pages we want to. Say that we want to pass it into the home screen or the index screen. So there are a couple of things we need to do. First, we need to bring in use context, then value const value equals. You can name whatever you want, that value. I'm just kind of like maintaining the same wording so that we can refer back to the context. So this is just for not creating more variables that we have to. So use context, and we need to import then we need to use context, and in here we're gonna do text use value. All right, so now you see that this is available anywhere. You just need to import the context, and then declare the value to use the context, and then pass in the value. So now what does that look like with an array? So you go back here, and I have already created some blog post array. So I'm gonna just show that, and instead of passing this value, we're gonna passing this other value. So but you're gonna see an error showing up because we're displaying only a single object. We're not passing in a list. So to get rid of that, first I'm gonna undo this what I had over here, because we're not gonna use the screen to bring in anything from the context. So I'm just gonna undo everything. Alright, and get us that title. Now I'm gonna go into my blog screen where I have everything set up. So now you see that I have this value use context, and we're not gonna be using it. So I'm gonna I'm just gonna delete it just because we're not gonna be using it. So instead we're gonna use a flat list. A flat list is gonna give you all the documents and all the necessary items to list that set of objects. And in this case, we are gonna list the blog post we created in here, and it is just a simple array with two items in it, and we're passing it as a value prop, and we're gonna list it here. In order to create list, we have to use the flat list component from React Native, and we had that already in here, so we're importing the blog context. After that, we need to define the blog post and use that blog context. Then we're gonna need to get this, and we're gonna use flat list in order to list out the items. So we use flat list, and then we declare the data point. Basically, this is saying like, hey, get me the content from this object, and we declare it over here. After that, you have to define a key extractor, and basically what this it requires to one argument here in order to pass it through the function. And then one of the items we only care about is the title. So we're passing in the title as our ID, or as a way to differentiate what we're passing, and then we render out whatever we want by doing an item, and then we return the item.title. So with that, we should get a list of the items. We're going to go to blog, and here they are. So just a little bit of a recap of what is happening is basically we create a list of items, and this represents our blog posts. And we can create as many as we want right now, but just to be keeping it simple, we're only creating 2 of them. and then we're letting our blog provider do the work by passing in the value of our array of objects. After that, we brought in blog context, and we declare a blog post to use that context value of blog context from here. After that, we needed to list the items, and we use the flat list component in order to pass them through, in order to render out each individual item. This is basically like the loop system that they have within React. And we passed in the values and we listed them here. And the same is for, this works in iOS and also works for Android. So we go to post, and here they are. So everything looks good. Blog. Alright, so this concludes this part of the training or of our blog system, and I will continue with another way of creating posts and everything in the next video. Right? Thank you much.